Sup, y'all? Welcome back to Saved by the Code, where I discuss technologies rooted in computer code that can save us from the corrupt fiat money regime. My name is Perry, and let's get going. Got some great stories to start out the episode for y'all. Some great crypto legislation or lack thereof. The Biden was proposing a 30% Bitcoin mining tax in the debt ceiling deal. All this debt ceiling craziness going on, and they tried to squeeze in this 30% Bitcoin mining tax on Bitcoin miners because of how detrimental they are to the environment. And this is not going through. It has been blocked because it is absolute insanity and just another way in which our wonderful government is trying to impede this incredible technology called Bitcoin that empowers the individual. And of course, they state the reasons behind imposing this 30% tax on Bitcoin miners is because of how absolutely terrible Bitcoin mining is for the environment and this and that, and completely failing to mention all of the things I always say in all of my videos, all of the other energy intensive things us humans participate in, video games, Christmas lights, refrigerators, completely lacking or failing to mention any of those things. There's no 30% tax on any of those. Oh, no, just Bitcoin mining because it's just so detrimental, just ruining the world and the environment. So horrible. And but it's not going through, which is amazing to see. And you see here, even Robert Kennedy is chiming in here. He says that yes, energy use is a concern, though somewhat overstated, but Bitcoin mining use is about the same as video games, and no one is calling for a ban on those. Yes, thank you, Robert Kennedy. Love this guy. He's a Bitcoin advocate. He's been quite vocal on his support for Bitcoin, and he's very logical in his point of view, stating that yes, Bitcoin mining uses about the same as video games, and yeah, no one's saying anything about those. Banking uses twice as much, gold mining, yada da da da, you know, the whole spiel that I always say in all my videos. And just always, as usual, complete lack of intellectual honesty and just deception and lies. As usual, what else do you expect from our wonderful government? And yeah, so this is not going through. Thank goodness. I'm sure they'll continue trying and they'll continue pushing this narrative that Bitcoin mining is so horrible and terrible and that it's the only thing on the entire planet that is just horrible and using all this energy and destroying our environment. Nothing else, just Bitcoin mining. And the fact, and they'll continue saying that it provides no use, there's no use case, la-di-da-di-da. You know, all the absolute nonsense that is constantly spewed from Washington, D.C., and from the New York Times and all those great, wonderful organizations that are a part of the fiat money regime, the corrupt fiat money regime, that are pushing things like, you know, they peddle, you know, the banking and the US dollar bullcrap, that it's just everything's fine, it's all good, we don't need Bitcoin. Just lies on top of lies on top of lies. We desperately need Bitcoin. And also, there is a bill that was proposed in Texas to not include 90% of Bitcoin miners in their subsidy program. In Texas, there's Bitcoin miners have flocked there, and the reason is because of how welcoming Texas has been to them, and the program called ERCOT down there that incentivizes and actually pays Bitcoin miners to shut off their machines in times of peak energy demand because they provide an essential service to the energy grid. They balance the energy grid, meaning that when there is excess energy, Bitcoin miners can come and buy up that excess energy, providing the energy companies with the money, the profits, and also balancing the energy grid. Because when you have too much energy and there's not a demand for it, it goes to waste. And that is lost profits, that's wasted energy. And so Bitcoin miners come in and buy up that excess energy and provide the energy companies with their money, thus decreasing energy bills for the end consumer, which is always failed to be mentioned in any of these articles. They will lie straight through their teeth to you, saying that Bitcoin miners are destroying the environment in these local communities and actually increasing energy prices, when that is a literal blatant lie. I have the data in previous videos, and it's just lies, literal made up lies. And like I said, Bitcoin provides an essential service to places like Texas, where it stabilizes the energy grid. And in times where energy is needed, when there is not enough energy, or in times of peak demand, Bitcoin miners shut off their machines, and they fit the bill perfectly for this service that they provide, better than anything, literally better than any other energy grid balancer, whatever you want to call it. They fit the bill perfectly because of their ability to shut off their machines instantaneously and provide all of that extra energy to the grid when it's needed in emergency situations or in times of peak demand, when it's really hot out, when people are running their ACs. Bitcoin miners are paid to shut off their mining operations. And there was a bill that was going to be pushed through. However, it was halted in the House, in the Texas House. It says here, Texas bill that would limit miners' participation in cost-saving grid programs stopped in a House committee. So this is great. You know, Biden's 30% mining tax isn't going through. This Texas legislation that was going to limit miners' participation in this energy balancing program that is essential to the proper functioning of the energy grid in Texas is not going through. It's just great to see that these are big wins for the Bitcoin mining industry. And it goes to show that there are logical, reasonable politicians that are advocates for Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining, because it's a net good for the environment and energy grids. It's the best thing that's ever happened to renewable energy, because Bitcoin mining, like I mentioned, has the ability to turn off or turn on their operations at the press of a button. And with renewable energy, the thing is that it's highly unpredictable. And so when some days there's a lot of wind blowing and you're going to get a lot of wind energy, there's more water flowing through the hydroelectric facility, there's more sun shining on some days than others. And so you're going to have excess energy or a lack thereof energy. And so whenever there's excess energy, like I said, this is lost profits whenever you cannot consume that energy immediately, because storing energy is highly inefficient and a lot of it is lost, and that is lost profits for energy companies. And so if you have these massive renewable energy operations going on and you have all this excess energy that you can't store, that's lost money. That is lost profits. And Bitcoin miners can come in and buy up all this excess energy, and energy companies are happy, Bitcoin miners are happy, and consumers are happy because it decreases energy bill costs, unlike what New York Times articles will completely make up and lie to you about. And it is it's the best thing that's happened in the renewable energy sector, because this results in more investment into renewable energy infrastructure because of the profits that are made instead of lost profits whenever they can't capture those profits because of the excess energy that they can't utilize. And this results in further investment into renewable energy infrastructure, and it is a very good thing for the renewable energy industry and the progression of it. And you won't hear any of that ever mentioned in any of these bills proposed by good old Biden or the New York Times articles or all that crap that they release. Just complete and total lies, unfortunately. Many people will believe it. They worship these news outlets and whatever the TV says, and they literally worship it. They think it's gospel, and it is the truth. They will spread it like wildfire. These people, they're highly educated people with their CNN degrees and their Facebook degrees and their New York Times degrees. Wanda down the street's going to go and tell all her friends how bad Bitcoin mining is because CNN said so or New York Times said so. And this is unfortunately how the majority of people operate. They literally take this stuff as gospel as opposed to looking at actual raw data, and they'll just believe whatever the TV says. And these people lie to you. These news outlets lie. Believe it or not, news outlets make stuff up and lie. Whoa, mind blower there. But looks as though that the facts and the truth is prevailing here because none of this legislation is going through for the time being. I'm sure they'll keep trying. However, for the time being, none of this is going through. This article here, Bitcoin miners are happy. Yes, they are very happy in recent times because of all of the increase in Bitcoin transaction fees that have been going on as of late because of the Bitcoin NFTs that have been going on the Bitcoin blockchain in recent times has caused a very large increase in network traffic and therefore network transactions, and therefore transaction fees have been skyrocketing, and Bitcoin miners see a portion of those transaction fees, and so they've been making a lot of money, as well as this inhibition of these crazy Bitcoin legislation is not going through. It's great to see. And the Bitcoin mining industry is absolutely booming. The difficulty is reaching record highs. The difficulty being how difficult it is to mine a block. This is indicative of how many miners are competing in the Bitcoin mining industry. So when the difficulty is at an all-time high, that means that the amount of people mining Bitcoin is at an all-time high. And that is indicative of the health of the Bitcoin network. And it just keeps on hitting all-time highs throughout this year. And it's at another all-time high as of today. So the Bitcoin network is as healthy as it has ever been, as decentralized, and as unstoppable as it has ever been. And it shows no signs of slowing down. Another great thing coming from Ron DeSantis is he is defending your right to do Bitcoin, is what he says. It says here, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, you have every right to do Bitcoin. And just incredible to see. I love this guy. He's passing legislation in Florida that prohibits any CBDC, central bank digital currencies, from operating in Florida. And he's also an advocate for Bitcoin, clearly, and protecting your right to own and do Bitcoin is what he says. Amazing. Incredible to see. He's got my vote for sure. I just wish Trump would say these kinds of things. Honestly, I think I would press the DeSantis button if voting time comes around solely because of this. And so he is against CBDCs and he's for Bitcoin ownership. That's massive. And you're seeing the emergence of the crypto politician, of the Bitcoin politician here. Robert Kennedy, you got Ron DeSantis, you got Cynthia Lummis out of Wyoming, you got Ted Cruz in Texas. He's a Bitcoin advocate. I really think this is going to be a thing that you see in coming elections is this candidate supportive of cryptocurrencies or not, of Bitcoin or not? And it will sway a certain number of people, a certain population. And I will be swayed solely because of their cryptocurrency policies. And Ron DeSantis got my vote for sure. Amazing, incredible to see. And I think we're seeing a large shift in the perception of cryptocurrencies by politicians and by people in general. And but the powers to be are going to fight back vehemently against it. But for now, it looks like we're getting some wins here with this pushback against this crazy legislation against Bitcoin mining. But these are some great wins here, folks. Great to see. Love it, love it, love it. Another story here from good old Ronnie DeSantis says that the IRS is corrupt, insisting that America needs something totally different. That's incredible as well. Like, come on, people, that's amazing. Talking against the IRS as well as supporting the right to own, to do Bitcoin. Amazing to see. It says here, quote from Ron DeSantis, "I think the IRS is a corrupt organization, and I think it's not a friend to the average citizen or taxpayer. We need something totally different." Yes, we do. So great. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, talking against the IRS, supporting Bitcoin ownership, he has got my vote because, yes, folks, the IRS is a corrupt, extortionist mafia. Yes, they are. They overtax you. We have no say in how we get taxed or where the tax dollars go. That is literally the reason, or one of the big reasons why the revolution happened back in 1776, is because of something called taxation without representation, meaning that we, normal people, have no say in how we get taxed and what happens to those tax dollars. So illegal. It is so insanely illegal. And so many of these things happen every single day in this free country of ours that we live in. It's just terrible. You know, you can't even be proud from living of your own country. It's so bad. You know, we live in the greatest, most free country in the world. Oh, it's amazing. It's wonderful. Meanwhile, we're getting taxed to absolute, you know what, and we have no say. I mean, just the amount of illegal things that happen in this country every single day by our own government is so horrible. And then if you do the smallest little thing, oh, you get the book thrown at you. You're done. You're $1,000 in credit card debt. Oh, we're taking everything from you. We're gonna seize your assets. Your credit score is done. But the United States is allowed to get in as much debt as they want. Trillions of dollars. They can raise the debt ceiling, do whatever they want. Oh, I wish I could raise my debt ceiling. Wouldn't that be nice if you could raise your debt ceiling when you got into debt? Oh no, you're not allowed, but we are allowed. The double standard that exists in the clown world, not the first world, the clown world, is just mind-bogglingly absurd. And the IRS is a poster child for that. So yeah, love to see this kind of stuff. Politicians standing up for our right to own Bitcoin. The pushback against this insane legislation, and the fact that it's not going through, incredible, amazing to see. All right, let's move on here to some good old New York Times bullcrap. Did the New York Times publish manipulated footage of a Bitcoin mine? Yes, they did. In their little article that they released last month, or in April or March or something, absolutely bashing Bitcoin mining. You know, the absurdities that went along with that, the complete and total intellectual dishonesty, lies, hypocrisy, all that good stuff that you know is just typical from massive news outlets. They posted a picture of a Bitcoin mine on their article. It was the front picture of their article, and it had this hazy look to it. It looked like there was just all this pollution over this Bitcoin mine. And a bunch of people really analyzed the photo, and apparently they manipulated the photo to make it look like a lot of haze was over this Bitcoin mine, to make it look so ominous and like all this pollution was being pumped out of this Bitcoin mine, when in reality, Bitcoin mines produce no pollution. There's no direct pollution produced by the mine. It is the source of the energy that will produce this pollution, if it even relies on a pollution-producing source of energy. There's a Bitcoin operation called Iris Energy in Canada, and they're expanding to the United States. They have multiple Bitcoin operations, massive operations, one of the largest ones, actually, and they operate on 100% renewable energy, producing no emissions. And this has always failed to be mentioned in any of these articles. Oh, whoops, we forgot about one of the biggest mining operations in the world that uses 100% renewable energy that emits no greenhouse gases. Just forgot to mention that. My bad. Oh, whoop-de-doo, didn't mention that one. Which just further illustrates how incredibly intellectually dishonest all of these articles and all this crap that they're peddling. And unfortunately, many people will believe it. And I mean, look at that picture. If you're not looking at the screen, it just has all this haze over this Bitcoin mine. Oh, it's so horrible. The real world cost of the digital race for Bitcoin. Oh, what's the real world cost? Please tell me. Just provide me with data, please. But they have a complete lack thereof of that as well, because they know the majority of people will not do any further digging. They rely on that fact. This is what news outlets rely upon. They rely on the fact that no one will do any further digging other than what they hear directly from the talking heads on the TV or these articles that they read. Oh, man. And that won't change anytime soon. Most people will just, they don't do any research. They just believe the first thing that they see or read and are not data-based whatsoever. Many of these things can be debunked almost immediately if you do just a little bit of digging. It's so easy to find data and debunk pretty much everything that is said in these nonsense, lies, deceptive articles. But yeah, apparently the picture that they used in that New York Times article was heavily manipulated to make it look like there's a ton of smog over this Bitcoin mine, and to implant into people's heads that there's just smoke billowing out of all of these Bitcoin mines, when in reality, Bitcoin mines do not produce any emissions. It is the source of the energy that can produce emissions. And another thing that many people don't know is that the majority of Bitcoin mining is done with renewable energy. So more than 50%, I think it's in the 60% range, is done with renewable energy. Totally failed to mention that in their article as well. What are you going to do? But hopefully the truth will prevail. And there's always going to be this crap. All I can do, all we can do is I can just put content out like this, and hopefully enough people listen to it and actually do the research themselves as well. I mean, I have it in previous videos where I literally go through data sets and show that Bitcoin mining has it doesn't cause any of the things that the New York Times article is saying, that all the horrible things that Bitcoin is causing. It's just not factual. Data doesn't lie, folks. Data does not lie. The source of the data can lie, sure. However, this is why you have to integrate information from multiple different sources and see if they match up with each other or not. Anyways, let's move on to this next story here. And I love seeing these kinds of stories in the face of all this nonsense, these massive Bitcoin mining operations still popping up. As we can see here, stablecoin issuer Tether is to begin Bitcoin mining operations in Uruguay. Yeah, Tether has been buying billions of dollars in Bitcoin because it is the hardest type of money on the planet. And they understand this, and they are putting it into their reserves because Bitcoin is the best money in the world. And they're also expanding into actual Bitcoin mining operations in Uruguay. It says Tether, the company behind the widely popular US dollar stablecoin. Stablecoin is a cryptocurrency pegged to the US dollar, so it price doesn't fluctuate. It's always at $1. And Tether is the biggest stablecoin. They have announced its foray into energy production and sustainable Bitcoin mining operations in Uruguay. According to the announcement, Tether's collaboration with a local licensed company marks the company's expansion into the energy sector as part of its goal to become a global tech leader. And apparently this Bitcoin mine, once again, is going to be based on renewable energy. Look at that. Another renewable Bitcoin mining operation. It says here, Uruguay has gained recognition as a leader in renewable energy with an impressive 94% of electricity generation sourced from renewable energy sources, such as wind and solar power, according to the announcement. The country's favorable conditions for renewable energy production, including wind farms, solar parks, and hydropower projects, make it an ideal location for Tether's sustainable mining operations. The company also stated that Uruguay's robust and reliable grid systems further ensures efficient and sustainable mining activities. Love it. Beautiful to see. Another massive mining operation popping up in the face of these nonsensical New York Times articles. We need to stop Bitcoin mining now. Meanwhile, over here, another massive Bitcoin mining operation is popping up. Another article stating that, yes, Tether is indeed getting into the Bitcoin mining industry. Another article here, Sabre 56, I guess, announces a new partnership with Gem Mining to host more than 4,500 Bitcoin miners. Another massive Bitcoin mining operation popping up. Oh gosh, I love to see it. They are literally just giving the finger to the New York Times. It's amazing. And this is going to be happening in Wyoming. It says here, half of the miners will come online in May, with the remaining miners joining in June. This deal marks a significant milestone. Yep. The CEO of Sabre 56, Phil Harvey, expressed his enthusiasm for the partnership with Gem Mining, emphasizing their shared values and dedication to advancing the mining industry. Harvey stated, Sabre 56 is rapidly, or I guess it's Sabre. Oh my gosh. Sabre. Oh man. Sabre 56 is rapidly implementing a strategic shift to build full-service hosting facilities with the highest technical environmental standards. This initial placing of 4,500 machines by Gem Mining improves our ability to support the market's most mature players and provide industry-leading hosting solutions. Yes. Beautiful to see. Beautiful to see. Another thing that, the New York Times completely and totally fails to mention is the fact that these mining machines are going to continue to get more efficient, meaning that they need to use less electricity to produce the same amount of output. And this is happening. Mining machines are coming out that are more efficient, can mine more Bitcoin with less electricity. Totally failed to mention that in your New York Times article as well. These are some pretty big details that, they're leaving out. Iris Energy using 100% renewable energy, one of the biggest mining operations, failed to mention that, failed to mention the increase in efficiency. They just failed to mention these really important details. Is that just a coincidence? I don't know about that one, folks. So yeah, another massive mining operation popping up in Wyoming. Take that, New York Times. Let's see here. Next story here. Ethereum and Bitcoin balances on exchanges is hitting a 5-year low. Yeah, so the amount of Bitcoin and Ethereum on exchanges like Coinbase, like Gemini, is hitting lows, all-time lows, which is very good. This means that people are taking their cryptocurrency off of exchanges instead of leaving it on there, and they're holding it themselves, which is incredibly important if you're going to be getting into Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. You need to know how to properly store your crypto. If you just leave it on a website, it completely defeats the purpose of crypto. It's literally just at the whim of the website. If the website goes down, it goes offline, you can't get access to your money. And when it's on the website, you don't own it. They own it. It's not yours. It's like when you put your money in a bank. You don't own your money. It's not your money anymore when it's in the bank. It's not your crypto anymore when it's on the exchange. And this is also indicative that fewer and fewer people are looking to sell their crypto, because if it's not on the exchange, they're obviously not going to sell it because they can't sell it. So this is very good news, because this shows that people aren't looking to sell, as well as people are custodying or holding on to their own crypto. So that is amazing to see. Let's see what it says here. with 17, yeah, so it's hit a 5-year low, the amount of Ethereum and Bitcoin on exchanges. It says here that currently about 14% of the total Ethereum network supply is on exchanges right now, which may seem high, but relatively speaking, it was up to 30% in the summer of 2020. So that is less than half that has left exchanges over the course of the last 3 years. Yeah, I mean, this is a bullish indicator that there is not a lot of crypto on exchanges. It says here, Bitcoin stats show much the same, with the cryptocurrency exchange balance dropping to levels not seen since March 2018 at just above 2.23 million Bitcoin is on exchanges at the time of writing. So this is great. Great to see a fall in cryptocurrency balances on exchanges. People aren't looking to sell and people are holding on to their crypto. Great stuff. Those are bullish indicators. This article also states that data suggests bull run for Bitcoin despite the price decline. There's not much of a price decline. It's just kind of sitting flat. It's just been flat for the past month or two. And this is because people aren't looking to sell. No one wants to sell their Bitcoin at these prices. And it's stating here as well, like the last article, that there has been a decrease in the amount of crypto on exchanges. Bitcoin circulating on exchanges has decreased in the past month. It has fallen by roughly $7 billion in the past month. Yeah. Great stuff, folks. Same thing apparently happened in 2019. A sharp decline in the balance of crypto on exchanges resulted in a massive price increase. Went from $5,200 to $12,000 in 2019. And this was also in line with the amount of crypto leaving exchanges. Yeah, so people aren't looking to sell, folks. People aren't looking to sell. And I don't know why you would be looking to sell in these crazy, crazy times we live in. Another story from Robert Kennedy: slams the SEC for protecting banks instead of American people. Calls for crypto-friendly commissioners. Love it, love it, love it. Quote here, I don't want people on the SEC commission who are anti-crypto. At most, they should be neutral, and we should have people on there who are from the crypto community. Yes, we should. What they're doing is obscure, it's not transparent, and it's not bringing transparency to our system. Yeah. Awesome. I love this guy. This dude's got my vote too. Even though he's a Democrat, that's fine. Whatever. I don't see him as that. However, he's a crypto dude, and it's awesome to see. He wants to protect the right to own Bitcoin, and he's speaking up against the corrupt, insane SEC that is not there to protect anyone except for themselves and their banker friends. That's what all of these organizations do. That is literally all they do. They pass legislation that protect their banker friends, and they take money from the people. That is what every government organization does. Literally. That's what they do. They protect the banks and they take money out of your pocket. They rob you. That's what they do. I mean, that is the only function that any of them serve. And they're just allowed to do all these illegal things. We're allowed to. That's okay, because we're the government. Okay, that's all. Goodbye. What? Just no sense made. Corruption everywhere. And we're all forced to live in it. And it's just deal with it. Oh well, sorry. See ya. Bye now. Give us your money. See ya. We're here for you. We're here to protect you. Your tax dollars hard at work. going overseas. Tax dollars hard at work. Oh, it's so amazing. So incredible. All these tax dollars hard at work. Meanwhile, in, places like San Francisco and LA and, all those cities that are heavily swaying to one side of the political spectrum. I won't explicitly say. I think we can figure that out. But if you don't see a trend there, you don't see the problems that you see in other cities, like Miami or places in Texas. You don't see these insane crime and homeless problems in those cities, but in Oakland, San Francisco, LA, Portland, and they are on one side of the political spectrum, and I don't know, you see a pattern there. Yeah. It's just crazy in those cities, and they are leaning towards one side of the political spectrum. It's horrible to see what's happening in those places, like insane crime, defund the police, all that craziness. And look what's happening there. People can literally just walk in, take things, and leave, and get a slap on the wrist, and they're let out the same day. And they go do it again. And it's just allowed. That's okay. That's fine. All right, folks. Next story here. Economist Peter Schiff blasts debt ceiling deal. State's national debt might increase by $4 trillion in the next 2 years. $4 trillion. It's the government, though. We're allowed. We're allowed to get into debt. It's okay. Trillion? It's just $1 trillion. Do you know how much money $1 trillion is? That is eye-wateringly big. That is such a big number. It's ridiculous. $1 billion is massive. $1 trillion? 1,000 billion? Blah. Peter Schiff he doesn't like Bitcoin. He loves gold. And he just refuses to change his stance on Bitcoin. We're on the same team, by the way. I like him, even though he's against Bitcoin. We're on the same team. He thinks the government's horrible and all this stuff. He always speaks out against them. He's a gold advocate. He doesn't like Bitcoin, though, and he refuses to change his stance. But that's his right. Says here, the deal to raise the debt ceiling allows military and entitlement spending to increase and only caps discretionary spending at 2023 levels for 2 years. Yeah, I mean, they just continue to do this, and they'll raise the debt ceiling again in 2 more years because they can just do whatever they please. Doesn't matter. At the cost of me and you, as always. That's what all of these policies do. Let's see here. Schiff also has opinions about why Democrats and Republicans approved a debt suspension deal instead of a determined limit raise for the next 2 years. The reason the president and McCarthy agreed to suspend the debt ceiling rather than to raise it is to ensure the debt doesn't hit the ceiling during the 2-year period. Achieving this by way an increase would require a record $5 trillion hike, far too embarrassing to vote for. Oh, what a joke of a world we live in. What a clown world. We'll just raise the ceiling. Just raise it again. What? We only have $32 trillion in debt? Oh, it's fine. Just bump it up a couple more trillion. That's all good. It's all good. It's just fine and dandy. Like, why is there even, debt? What is the point if we just raise the ceiling? Just raise it. Raise the roof. It's just such a joke. It's so mind-bogglingly insane. Next story here. Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki says America is bankrupt amid U.S. debt crisis. Wow. Couldn't have seen that coming. I couldn't figure that out myself. I just had no idea that the country was bankrupt and in debt. Rich Dad Poor Dad author says America is bankrupt as lawmakers engage in lengthy negotiations Unfunded liabilities as Social Security over 250 trillion. More than 32 million. Politicians debating raising $30 trillion U.S. debt limit. Bad comedy. Kabuki theater. What? Facts are U.S. bankrupt. I mean, just the metrics for all this are just like off the charts. Like, it's just so wacky. Like, can this thing just please crash so we can just get it over with? Like, I'm just so sick of it being delayed. Can it just happen? Like, I don't want it to happen, but it can just happen so we can just move on. And so I can just see these banks burn. It would just be wonderful. Referencing the banking crisis where several major banks failed, the renowned author wrote, Robert Kiyosaki, first banks, countries next. Will Germany be the first country to fail? Go bankrupt? If Germany fails, which country will be next? Will America default after Germany? How haven't we default? Like, what is a default then? If we're $32 trillion in debt, like, how is that not a default? Like, and then you raise the debt ceiling more to get into more debt? Like, it's so wacky. Like, clearly I'm missing something. Or maybe it just doesn't make any sense. Like, everything in this world. Nothing makes any sense. No sense made. Alrighty, folks. I think that does it for this video. As usual, I gotta do my Babylon Bee segment at the end here to end it on a light note. The greatest source of truth, the greatest source of truth news outlet, the Babylon Bee. Here's a great story. Due to high crime, the mafia closed its Chicago office. Oh, man. I guess the mafia doesn't want anything to do with crime. It says here, today marked an end of an era as the mafia announced it was officially closing its Chicago branch due to the rising wave of violent crime in the city. Quote, we just can't operate under these conditions, said street boss Albert Albie the Falcon. Speaking on behalf of Salvatore Sally D. De Laurentiis, who has run the Chicago organization since 2021. How are we supposed to conduct respectable business, loan sharking, bribery, racketeering, illegal gambling with so much crime going on? It's insane. Man, even the mafia is running from Chicago. And I wonder what side of the political spectrum Chicago's on. Let's see here. This article, study finds Target going woke has gotten more families out of debt than have Dave Ramsey. Oh, too good. Too good. Gotta get one more here. 8 sure signs the end of the world will come this year. With all other companies going woke, conservatives make last stand at Texas Buc-ee's. Yeah, so all this woke craziness with all these companies, like, what is going on? Like, it's unreal. All right. Yeah, so that's the story of the day here from the Babylon Bee. The mafia is closing up shop in Chicago. Too much crime. Can't take it anymore. All right. That does it for this video. I hope y'all are doing all right out there. And give me a like, give me a subscribe. It really, really helps me out. I see these views and I don't see people subscribing. Just press the subscribe button. It's that easy. If you like the content, give me a thumbs up as well. Press that bell button to get notified when I put out another video. And until next time, I do bid you farewell on your cryptocurrency journey.